Hello, my name is Tom Tedford, and I'm here today to represent the Towing and Recovery Association of America. On behalf of the TRAA and the many other sponsors and contributors to this project, I'd like to say welcome and thank you for making the choice to join our industry as a towing professional. Towing is a unique business, to say the least. Not only is it exciting and an opportunity to do something different each day, it's also very demanding and can be dangerous all at the same time. The purpose of the following video is to help educate you, the towing professional, with advice to be safe in your working conditions in a professional manner. Each year, over 60 operators die in the line of duty performing their jobs. In the year 2006, over 75 fatal incidents were recorded, which is both staggering and somber. I have personally experienced 2 such tragedies in the last 12 months, reaffirming that it only takes seconds for something to happen and the importance of always being on your game. As a professional towing operator, you will be required to respond to all types of situations, in all types of conditions, which may put you at risk and in harm's way from passing motorists. We thank you for taking the extra step in committing to training by watching this video, as it may be the difference someday in making it home safe and sound.
As a professional tow truck operator, you must be able to do more than just operate the towing equipment. You will also be expected to render the high level of service that is expected of a professional tow truck operator. You must have the knowledge and confidence to evaluate each situation as it arises and to take the appropriate action. While it is not possible to know, evaluate, and advise you on every possible situation that you may encounter in the course of your day, it is possible to provide you with some guidelines and suggestions to assist you in making decisions. The decisions you make can affect your safety as well as others. Some of these are simple common sense things, such as don't stand out on the road. Others are the result of input from the towing equipment manufacturers and the experiences of other tow truck operators. While you're handling these roadside service calls, you must be diplomatic and professional at all times, as you will not only be assisting stranded motorists, but often responding to service and accident requests from the highway patrol, police, and fire departments. When responding to these roadside service calls, you must be able to project a positive image to the stranded motorist, who may be in a difficult and sometimes dangerous position, and you must be able to communicate quickly and clearly that you are there to help them. The first impression that you must convey is confidence and a positive attitude to the customer. You can do this by asking the right questions or directions, and avoid using jargon or phrases that could be misunderstood. Listening to their replies is just as important as the questions that you ask. Your replies will increase their confidence in your ability to resolve their problem. By creating this customer confidence, you assist the motorist quickly and safely and get them on their way or towed to a repair shop. Always try and avoid tunnel vision. That is, focusing in on one thing and forgetting everything else that is going on around you. You must always be aware of our surroundings, those around you, and the capabilities of your equipment. Be alert and learn to recognize potential hazards and dangerous situations. Don't take a wait-and-see attitude. You need to take whatever reasonable action is necessary to prevent an accident or injury. When you are on roadside calls, in many cases you will find that methods that are least disruptive to passing traffic are often the safest for you and those around you, such as parking the truck properly, working from the curb or shoulder rather than from the traffic side of the truck, and not using your overhead lights when they are not needed. As a professional tow truck operator, you must be safety conscious at all times and in all situations. While the circumstances of each call you go out on will be different, many times the basics are very similar. Some of the methods used on freeways differ from those used on city streets because of higher speeds, greater traffic density, and restricted working conditions. A freeway is just like a high-speed conveyor belt. As long as it's moving along without problems or restrictions, it will do its job. However, any obstruction, such as a disabled car or accident, will immediately decrease its efficiency, and these slowdowns will affect thousands of motorists and take hours to clear up. Just as you do a pre-trip inspection on your truck, you need to do a pre-trip on yourself. Do you have all of your personal protection gear, gloves, hard hat, safety vest and eye protection, tools, maps, or anything else you might need? Think about where you're going and what the conditions may be at the scene, and prepare yourself by having a plan of action, and then think about what your options will be if there are problems. When responding to freeway calls, similar to calls on city streets, build up a safe time margin around you, both in front of you and between you and the car behind you. By driving defensively, you can avoid last-minute decisions, changing lanes, and endangering the traffic behind you. Look ahead and signal your intentions to slow down well in advance, and pull gradually off onto the shoulder. Watch your rear-view mirrors to be sure that the traffic following is aware of what you're doing. Avoid heavy braking as you pull off onto the shoulder, as the changes in the road surface can cause your brakes to lock up and you may lose control of the truck. As you approach the scene, you have two options: to either pull off in front of or behind the disabled vehicle. The type of call is often the deciding factor. For a flat tire or out-of-gas call, you may park behind the car. If it's a possible tow, you would pull off in front. Because of the location or the circumstances, you may decide that rather than adding fuel where the vehicle is located, a better option will be to simply pick up the vehicle and move it to a safer location. If you pull off behind the car, leave at least 1.5 truck lengths between your truck and the car. Always park out of and as far away from the traffic lanes as possible. Depending on the circumstances and space available, position the truck and set the emergency brake and use the four-way hazard flashers. Use the overhead warning lights only if the truck is in the roadway or a definite hazard exists. The unnecessary use of these lights has been a contributing factor in a number of accidents where the oncoming motorists have been blinded or distracted by the lights. In this scenario, the driver has chosen to use the overheads because the motorist was located at the end of an exit ramp off the highway. Usually the truck is parked parallel to the flow of traffic, parking brake and the hazard flashers on. This is particularly true when working in areas with very narrow shoulders or along the sound walls. An alternative method, space permitting, is to park the truck at a slight angle to the oncoming traffic, with the front wheels turned away from traffic and the parking brake set. With a sufficient gap between the truck and disabled vehicle, there is less likelihood that it will be pushed forward, but don't be lulled into a false sense of security just because the truck is parked between you and oncoming traffic. A disadvantage to parking closely behind the disabled vehicle is that your view of oncoming traffic may be obstructed. Another method used by tow truck operators is to treat every freeway call as a potential tow and to pull off in front of the vehicle. This eliminates the need to pull out into traffic and around the vehicle to hook up or load the vehicle if it needs to be towed. Once you have parked the truck, check and recheck your rearview mirrors before opening the door of the truck. Never jump or swing out of the truck, always take it one step at a time. If you jump or lose your grip, you may find yourself out in the traffic lanes. A very important factor to consider as you approach the scene is the location of the stranded motorist. Are they in the car or standing alongside the road? They most often will not be familiar with their surroundings and the dangers involved, and will be relying on you to be in control and provide directions for their safety. For example, if the vehicle is on a curve or where the driver was out standing by the back of the car when you arrived, you should instruct them to move over to the curb, behind the guardrail, or away from the roadway if possible. Another possibility is to have them stay in the vehicle or in the cab of the truck. Whenever possible, approach the vehicle from the passenger or curbside away from traffic, and position yourself to see the oncoming traffic while talking to the motorist. This is the safest position, with the motorist in the vehicle and you on the curbside.
0. Get out of the road. God. Keep on.
Working near high-speed traffic can be potentially dangerous. Take a few simple precautions, such as being aware of your surroundings and wearing reflective clothing. As an example, consider driving at night. Most drivers will tend to drive just as fast at night as they do during the day and can be easily distracted by oncoming headlights, talking on a cell phone, eating, or the warning lights at the scene. Many people don't realize how poor their vision or perception may be after dark. By the time they can identify a traffic hazard, it may be too late. Your choice of work clothes, jackets, and safety gear are important. This decision may save your life. Many tow truck operators tend to wear dark clothing or uniforms because it doesn't show the dirt or grease. But alongside the road, or at night particularly, you may be blending into the background, becoming invisible to oncoming drivers. What you want to do is provide a warning and visual contrast to the surroundings. Clothing with reflective materials that meet ANSI standard will counteract driver distractions, make you stand out from the surrounding background, and you can be seen at a greater distance during the day and at night. When you are finished with a service call, instruct the motorist to pull forward until their view of the oncoming traffic is unobstructed, to signal properly, and when there is an adequate gap in traffic, to accelerate and then merge back onto the highway. Don't move your truck until the motorist is safely on his or her way. When you are ready to leave, check and double-check your mirrors. Move along the shoulder, signal, accelerate, and then merge back into traffic when it's safe to do so. If you are towing or transporting the disabled vehicle, remember that you will need much more room to merge back into traffic. Remember to install your extension lights to warn oncoming drivers of your intentions, as the taillights on the truck will be obscured. Always double-check your mirrors, as a fast-moving, inattentive driver could switch lanes or get in our blind spot without warning. When merging out onto the roadway, avoid using your overhead warning lights unless it is absolutely necessary. The glare may block your turn signals or brake lights if you have to stop, and could blind or confuse oncoming drivers and cause an accident. If you're going to be at the scene of a disablement for an extended period of time, or your truck is in a bad position, you may need to call for law enforcement to provide traffic control. At times, you may need to put out additional warning devices, such as the reflective triangles, traffic cones, or flares. Cones are often the easiest to set out to warn oncoming drivers and to channel traffic away from the incident. Flares can be dangerous if not handled properly and are for temporary use only. Do not use flares if there is any type of a fire hazard, such as dry grass, spilled load, or leaking fuel. You must judge each incident individually as to how and where to use cones or flares. You need to consider the location, traffic flow, the width of the road, and the time necessary to clear the incident, or whether it would be better to call for law enforcement assistance before trying to remove the vehicle. Also, always remember that even though you may have warning lights on or put out these warning devices, they won't stop a car. So keep an eye on the oncoming traffic and be prepared to move if they don't heed the warning. When working alongside the road at night, be sure that your work or hookup lights are positioned so that they are not aimed back down the road at oncoming traffic. A driver might assume that they are from other vehicle headlights on their side of the road. Emergency lighting and its use will vary greatly among states. You should know the rules and regulations as they apply to your area. While some states will specify certain colors or combinations of colors, the most common color for warning lights on tow trucks is amber. It is the universal color for caution or to slow down. The human eye is most sensitive to amber yellow light because it provides the highest visibility or attraction potential, which is the purpose of warning lights, to warn oncoming drivers that there is a hazardous situation ahead. The overuse and indiscriminate use of the high-powered warning lights can literally blind an oncoming driver. The bright lights may also affect their vision to the point where, even if you have your reflective vest on, they may not see you. Another extremely important point to remember is that people will invariably drive where they are looking, and if you have attracted or distracted their attention with your lights, they may unconsciously be driving towards you. The flashing lights can create a visual distraction that is as every bit effective at slowing or disrupting traffic as a physical obstruction. The indiscriminate or improper use of warning lights has been cited in a number of accidents where tow trucks and police vehicles, while parked by the road with warning lights on, have been struck from behind, often resulting in serious or fatal injuries. Your warning light should only be used if your truck is actually in the roadway obstructing traffic, or if a definite traffic hazard exists. If you don't absolutely need the lights, don't use them. Many tow companies have agreements to tow for law enforcement agencies. As you will be interacting often with these agencies, if you have the opportunity to train with them and to share common issues, take advantage of the opportunity. It is much better to work out common issues in a training session than late at night out on the interstate in the rain. These training sessions will provide you and these agencies with a working knowledge of each other's responsibilities and resources. Many of the calls that you receive from law enforcement may be simple service calls or tows to storage. However, when you are dispatched to an accident and arrive on the scene, often there will be a lot of activity going on because the police, fire, and medical personnel have already arrived. The Highway Patrol or police agency will usually have jurisdiction and be the designated incident or scene commander. Their responsibility will be to coordinate the activities of everyone at the scene, establish a safe work area, and to reopen the road as soon as possible. When you arrive on scene, the best approach is to park your truck off the roadway, out of traffic lanes whenever possible, locate the incident commander, and ask what he needs you to do. In some cases, it may be a while before the vehicles can be moved, and you can use this time to your advantage to plan the recovery. Don't move any debris or parts at the scene unless you are instructed, as they may end up being part of the accident investigation. The officer in charge may or may not have a working knowledge of tow truck operation or recovery procedures. Ask what needs to be done and always advise the officer of what you will be doing and what will be necessary to remove or recover the vehicle. He will be relying on your professional knowledge and equipment to do the job quickly and efficiently. Again, remember that you are part of a team that is there to assist the injured, remove the wrecked or disabled vehicles, and to clear the roadway. Everyone needs to work together. Even after the roadway has been cleared and all the emergency vehicles are off to the side of the road with warning light off, they can still create a visual distraction that can slow traffic almost as much as the original incident. The faster you and everyone else involved can pack up and get out, the sooner traffic can return to normal. You need to realize that with traffic accidents, every situation is going to be a little different, and that you must be aware of your surroundings and the conditions of each incident. Remember that you are the professional and that to do your best, you will have to evaluate each incident, relate it to the training you have received, choose the appropriate method to handle the problem, and then act quickly, confidently, and safely. These are the trademarks of a professional tow truck operator.
Thanks again for taking the time to train and review some of the safety tips we have shared with you today. Remember, it only takes a second for the unexpected to occur, and by taking the extra steps for your safety and the safety of those around you, increases your chances of someday entering the Hall of Fame as a towing professional, rather than being remembered on the wall of the fallen as a statistic. Be safe, be aware, and the most important thing that you can do in your job every day is to come back home safely.